So let's get rolling, and I'll officially intro my friend Laura to you guys. So, guys, this is Laura Lee Clark, and you guys have seen some of her emails, so you've gotten to know her a little bit. But just to let you know, Laura Lee Clark's a business consultant and money coach for what she calls heart-centered entrepreneurs. She's also the author of the book Wire Yourself for Wealth, which has been published by Hay House. And one of the things that I've been really impressed by Laura about is her ability to help entrepreneurs pursue both money and meaning. She understands that you all want to change the world, but she also understands that you guys need to pay the bills and want to enjoy life, and she's really excellent at guiding people to do work that achieves both, which is why I thought she'd be a good fit for our audience, because so many of our entrepreneurs kind of wrestle with that tension between really wanting to change the world, really wanting to help people, but also needing to make money, and sometimes have trouble even reconciling that. And that's something that Laura's just excellent at. So Laura, so glad to have you with us, and you can take it away from here.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much, Ryan. And, thanks for being here and organising it and making this happen. I really appreciate it. Brilliant. And actually, I know you're probably going to go ahead and mute yourself out, but if stuff comes up and you want to kind of jump in, then, do feel free to do that, because we always have a giggle and you always have something meaningful to say. So.
And if you prefer me not to mute myself, I can do that too and just try to be quiet. But right now I'm planning on just muting, and then I'll unmute when I need to talk. Does that sound good?
Sounds awesome. Yeah, brilliant. Thanks so much. Cheers, Ryan. Yeah. Cool. All right. So, hi, everyone. We've just been having a little chat there before we got going, but it's lovely to connect with you and be here. Want to get going straight into the content as quickly as possible, because we've got a lot to get through. It's probably going to run for about an hour and 20, if that's okay. And I'm going to show the movers and shakers on the line how you can take this further at the end, all right, if you want to. So can we just do a little tech check, because I know that a few people have kind of dived on and started saying hi, which is awesome, but just so we can make sure that everyone's all right, can you type into the chat function whereabouts in the world you're calling from? I always find this bit really fascinating, because we tend to connect with people all over the world. So, oh, brilliant, chat function's going mad. So we've got, hang on a sec, guys. So we've got Catherine in Jacksonville, Florida, brilliant. Mike in Long Island, Livy in San Francisco. We've got Barry in Dallas, Texas. We've got Amy in Philadelphia, Thomas in Concord, Betsy in Nashville, Kate in Boston, Christine in Powell River, is that how you say it, in Canada? That's brilliant. Will in the Bay Area, which is great. I hear the weather's there. The weather there is fantastic all the time. I've got a client there and I'm so jealous. Bill in Melbourne. Oh, brilliant. Gosh, it must be like the other side of the day for you. Kermit in Atlanta. Oh, what a cool name, Kermit. And Chris in Toronto, Canada. Brilliant. Well, guys, welcome and thank you for being here. So the chat function is our conduit for making this training really valuable to you. You guys are going to steer me on track and make sure that I deliver the things that are most useful and meaningful for you. So if there's something that you need me to expand on, then feel free. Or if you kind of get it, kind of like if we were in a coffee shop, you'd be nodding in agreement, but obviously I can't see you nodding. So if you can let me know that we're on track as well, that would be awesome. And kind of in between, if there are questions, right, don't feel slighted if I have to kind of go a bit like my accent. I'm in England. Thank you. If there are questions, don't feel slighted if I have to kind of carry on with the flow of the training. We will circle back and cover any questions that I miss, okay? So I'm not ignoring you. It's just that, we've got to get through a certain amount of content and stay on track. All right, cool. So, there we go. We've got Ryan on the screen there. Whoops. So I want to say a huge thank you to Ryan for making this happen. And we've already kind of said that, you know, there's a lot of prep and, you know, communication that goes on in making something like this happen. And also Dave, his business partner at the 60-Day MBA. You guys have been awesome, so thank you. Secondly, thank you to you guys for showing up and taking the time out of your busy schedules. And I'd also like to congratulate you for taking the time to invest in making a change. The very fact that you're on this call demonstrates that you've got a commitment to taking action and to making things happen. So well done for you straight off the bat. Right, here we go. Next slide. Apollo 13. Now, did anyone see this movie? Took me ages to get around to seeing it, but when I did, it was amazing. So for those of us, type into the chat function if you had seen it, because I'd be curious to see who has. I've got a few people saying yes, brilliant, Betsy and Kermit and Barry, super. So for those of us who haven't seen it, Apollo 13 was an epic space mission. You know, it had drama, it had technical difficulties to overcome, and it had triumph in the end. And Amy's saying, yes, it was a great movie. And absolutely right, because the real story was so, you know, so amazing that they made a movie out of it. And it was about these three heroic men that went up into space in a shuttle, and they were meant to land on the moon, and they were kind of pushing back against the frontiers of space. Now, what I hadn't realised about this was that this is where the expression a square peg in a round hole had come from. Did anyone already know that? Because this was totally news for me. And we're going to talk about this because it's important. Oh, Laura's voice is fading in and out. Okay, how's that, Bill? Is that better? So Betsy's saying yes, she knew about the square peg in round hole because she'd seen the movie. Brilliant. Okay, and we're all right with the mic. So let me know if it disappears again. Cool. So the whole point of this was that they had to get the command module square CO2 filter into the lunar module round CO2 filter. And you can see there the chap's holding the two pieces up. And if they didn't manage to do this, the whole crew were going to die of carbon dioxide poisoning. So back at Mission Control, they put all the stuff that the astronauts had available to them onto the table, and there wasn't much. And you know, they were specific to the point where even if they didn't have like a certain kind of ammeter or you know, a gadget on the space shuttle, they wouldn't use it because they knew that the guys up there had to be able to duplicate the result with just the tools that they had available to them. Okay, so they had this impossible task, and what you've got are some of the best minds in the country. And, you know, there were like engineers, past astronauts, and all this kind of thing. And so these were really brainy people, and the first thing that they did was to put everything onto the table to see what they had to work with. And it's exactly the same in building a business. You know where to go if you don't know what resources are available to you. So, you know, when you do know the things that you can play with, you can start to get really creative, and you can start to put these pieces together in order to solve the problem. So, and yeah, so you kind of have to know what's on the table in order to get the result that you want. And for the boys in the Mission Control, it meant bringing those astronauts home. But for you, it means putting cash into your bank account. Okay, so now I've got a really kind of important question to ask you. Is it okay to talk about money and income? Are you guys like cool to, are you here to learn how to make more money? Oh, cool. All right, so the chat function's just gone nuts with yes. Brilliant. Okay, cool. So my goal is for the end of this training for every single person to walk away knowing the exact next steps they need to take in order to get unstuck and start taking productive action in the direction of what they really want, with the goal of monetizing within 12 weeks. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you the secret that we're going to unravel up front, yeah? The secret is everyone has a tool that they can use to dig for treasure. Now obviously this is a metaphor, Oh wow, guys, you guys are asking me some questions. Okay, so Libby's saying that I have a problem viewing myself as financially successful. Yeah, and that's a good point, and that's why I asked the question, because sometimes the word money even can trigger some people. So if money's an issue for you, just substitute that for sales, or maybe that's even more charged, or results, or productivity, and we'll deal with the inner game of money as well. And Christine's asking about a replay. We're going to try and see what we can do. It depends on the technology, yeah? Cool. All right, so I'm doing exactly what I said I wasn't going to do, answering questions that are interrupting my flow. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we all have our digging tool, and we're talking in terms of digging for treasure, but this is like the treasure, the money, the profit in your business that is what we're after, yeah? Now, we each have our own digging tool, and this is kind of like our own unique path to riches and success, kind of like a digging style, yeah? And what we need to do is adopt the strategies and the projects that allow us to use the digging tool we have in our hand. And, when I say projects, I mean like, are you going to pick up the phone and cold call, or are you going to get your leads somewhere else? Are you going to use Facebook versus LinkedIn versus, buying a database or any other kind of thing? So I know that you guys have got a lot of your structure kind of pinned down, and what you want to sell, but how are you going to go about doing that? Because there are a million ways of implementing a plan once you know, and the most effective way is once you know what your digging style is. Yeah, is this making sense? Are you following me? So I'll keep talking whilst you're typing. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, I'm getting a lot of yeses there. Thanks, guys. Cool. Okay, so the problem is most people don't know what tool they have in their hand, so they're using it wrong. Okay, so imagine for a moment you had a shovel in your hand and a cliff face to get through in order to get to your treasure, yeah? So have you got that visualized? Okay, now what happens if you have that shovel in your hand but you hallucinate, yeah, you imagine that it's actually a stick of dynamite? So, being a smart person might go, stick of dynamite, I can blow through that cliff face. So you pop it down against the cliff face, and you rig up all your detonators, and you go in to sit behind your big rock to protect yourself, and you put your fingers in your ears, and you press down on the big red button, and what happens? Well, nothing happens, because you've got a shovel there and not a stick of dynamite, yeah? So the point is, you need to use the right digging style depending on the tool that you have, yeah? Okay, so let me talk a little bit about the digging tools, because this is where we really get into the personality part of it. Okay, so there are two things that you need to know. You need to know what tools you have available to you, and then you also need to know where to dig, i.e. what projects to undertake and which one's going to fly. And I know that Bill had some questions around, how do you know which project's going to fly? So in this training, we're going to talk mainly about the tools that you have available to you and how to determine that, yeah? So let me go ahead and explain about the three different tools. So on the screen, you see three different types of digging tool, okay? So by analogy, imagine being able to walk into any room and connect with just the right people. Imagine, your shyness doesn't even enter your head, and you're able to kind of just strike up conversation with anyone and help them on their way and be able to get in touch with whomever you need for your own business. The world would be your oyster, wouldn't it? Well, some of you on this call have this as your natural talent, except you probably don't recognize it, or you haven't honed it, and you're literally sitting on a gold mine with a pickaxe wondering what to do with yourself. Okay, now let's try imagining this. Okay, imagine having the creativity and the business savvy of a Steve Jobs or a Richard Branson. Who would like that? Anyone on this call? Any takers? No? Okay, so you're able to look, okay, we've got a lot of me's and yeses coming through there. Well done, guys. So if you had this as your natural digging style, you'd be able to look at a business and see what resources you can pull in to fix a problem. You'd see the big picture, not in black and white, but in technicolor. And it's almost like you're a piece of dynamite that can sweep into a business and shake it up in a really good way and then move on to the next thing. Now, some of you listening right now have this as your natural skill. And your natural digging style, therefore, is the dynamite, yeah? Now, maybe you're not a people whisperer, and maybe you're not a big ideas, big pictures kind of person, okay? Maybe instead, you're the shovel digging tool, yeah? And you can look at a process or a system and instantly know how to improve it. You know, maybe you tinker with things and you make them better and you don't even, you know, think about it as hard work. It just comes so naturally to you. And you can do that better than starting a project from scratch. And then if this is you, you're likely to be able to do you know, big optimization things and improvements quite easily and effortlessly, which affects the end result in a very profound way. Okay. Now, I'm guessing if you're resonating with the shovel strategy right now, you probably also beat yourself up because you don't get lots of new ideas. And you think, oh my God, well, if I'm an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, I should be really creative and I should have lots of ideas. But I'm going to show you how this is actually a bit of a myth and how you can really mine massive value out of that optimization process. And in fact, we've got case studies for each of these. So if you're thinking, oh, I might be a mix of them, you're going to be mostly one of them, and then you might have like a secondary tool that you can kind of lean on here and there, yeah? Good. Okay, so now the reason that most people are stuck is because they're focusing their efforts on projects and activity that doesn't fit the tool that they're holding, yeah? So we need to first of all work out what tool you're holding. Okay. So let me back up a little bit, because there are 3 lessons that are really important that weave in with what we're talking about here. And I'll actually tell you a little bit, if that's okay with you, about how I got unstuck and found my flow, because there are these 3 lessons that I mentioned that you can apply directly. So it's kind of worth paying attention to, you know, the ins and outs of that. Because what these 3 lessons will do is make your efforts more productive, and it also relates to whatever you're working on. You know, whether you're in a job, whether you're working in a team, whether you're a solopreneur or you're running a big business with a team underneath you. These principles apply wherever, yeah? And, you know, once you've got them cracked, then you can expand your efforts and increase that amount of income that you can make. And blast through, you know, we get to these income barriers, and, you know, that we get to a certain number of clients that we can hold and we can't get any further and we can't put our rates up anymore. Once you get these 3 principles, you'll be able to blast through any of those. Okay, now you may be sitting there thinking, well, what on earth do I know? I only look 20, 25 or something. So whilst it's true, I am relatively young, I'm not 25, I'm also a published author and I have a physics degree, and I've helped people to make millions of dollars. And it's all because I figured out these secrets of digging and digging for treasure that I'm going to share with you today. So hopefully you've managed to grab a pen and paper and you're taking lots of notes already, but if you haven't, do reach for some and take some notes, because we're going to get doing some exercises along the way as well. All right? Good. So lesson 1 is invest in yourself, and I'm sure you've heard this before. Okay, so if you're taking notes, write down lesson 1, invest in yourself. Okay, because you need to get the skills and knowledge in order to make money. And it's not about going back to school and being academic, it's about gathering the information and the skills that you need in order to really rock it. And oh my God, I can't tell you the amount that I've invested in sales training, in stock trading, in marketing, in copywriting, in paying coaches and mentors and all this kind of stuff. But you know what, it pays off several fold. And investing in themselves is the common factor that I've seen in people who really do rock it in whatever it is that they're doing. So write this down. The right information and support gets you off the starting block, but this is only the beginning. Okay, so the right information and support gets you off the starting block, but this is only the beginning. And let me explain why it's only the beginning. Because I started as trading as a private investor, you know, trading on the stock market, and then I ended up later trading for myself. And this was the result. I was bored out of my tree. And that might be an English expression, but it means that I was pretty bored, yeah. So I had invested in myself, yeah, and like a lot of you are already doing, yeah. And I was getting skills to make the money, but that wasn't enough because, and this is where I learned the second lesson, because I was trading an edge at like 5:30 in the morning UK time, and I am not a morning person. I don't know if anyone else on the line is. But we had this trading edge that was meant to happen for 4 days a week, yeah? And what was meant to be four trades a week turned into 3, turned into 2, turned into 1, and then 6 months had gone by and I hadn't done anything, right? And all this time I could have been trading and making money, but I didn't. So this kind of got me thinking, and I started thinking about all the missed trading opportunities and how much my system would have created if I'd been able to get up in the morning and actually do it. And, you know, I tallied up and I'd missed a fortune, and it probably set me back about 4 years by doing something that I didn't even love and I didn't enjoy. So it wasn't just the financial impact, it was also, you know, that being laden with this, with guilt and, you know, feeling unmotivated and struggling and, you know, efforting the whole time. So think about this for yourself. Type into the chat function and tell me a time when you could have been making money and you just couldn't get it going on it. And it's probably that you've had the know-how, you've known what you should have been doing, and it could be that you were always too busy, or that there was always something more urgent, or you know, something always came up. But tell me, you know, what was it that you should have been doing and how long you were procrastinating for? And if you don't want to share the details, you know, just let me know, you know, roughly what was going on. Because this is what opportunity cost is. It's the missed opportunity when we could have been saying something that was more productive or more enjoyable with the time and the money that we put into it. Cool, so we've got some really good answers coming through. So Mike's saying most of the past 5 years. Amy's saying right now, trying to figure out the focus of my freelance work, so I'm semi-paralysed. Oh, I can appreciate that, yeah. Betsy saying past 5 years I haven't pursued tutoring, something I'm really good at. Kermit saying no follow-through with business ideas, yeah. Barry saying current job, finding the right clients and communicating the right message. Christine saying drawing and painting, put it off for years. Mike saying, didn't start my coaching business, but finally have. Hey, well done, Mike. Libby is saying, I have procrastinated. I'm procrastinating doing the networking necessary to refine my product and find the true market. Good, okay. What I like about this, guys, is that you're very specific in what you're procrastinating about. This is actually, you know, a good insight into procrastination, so well done. Thomas is saying doing MLM and cold calls to develop a downline. And Catherine saying not good at social networking, so need to work more on that for my fiction writing. Okay, cool. So these are all interesting points. And the sense that I'm getting from some of them, particularly Catherine at the end, sorry to single you out there, Catherine, but you do knock on a very important point there, is that when we find that we're procrastinating on something or we're not so good at it, we put more pressure on ourselves to do it, yeah? But what I'm trying to get across here is, Catherine saying, pick on me, I can handle it. Oh, bless you. Brilliant. So the point here is that it could be, Catherine, that social networking doesn't fall into your natural digging style and the natural digging tool that you're using, and so you should be dropping that and using some other form to market your fiction writing. So we're going to dive into this a little bit more, but that was just a brilliant point. So well done for saying that and letting me pick on you. Thanks. Okay, so here's the thing: when we procrastinate, there's a deeper reason why we can't get this done, and sometimes it's inner game stuff, yeah. And we need to talk a bit about the inner game towards the end, but the other part of it is that we're just not working to the tool that we have in our hand. So when you're doing things that are a chore or a hard work and something that you really have to focus on and get down to, that's a really good clue that it's not in your natural digging style, okay? So lesson 2 is work to your natural digging style. And When I discovered what my tool was, and that it was dynamite rather than a shovel, everything changed. It was insane. Yeah, I almost immediately doubled my income, and I stopped doing the things that I wasn't naturally good at, and the things that were hard work, like getting up and trading in the morning, and I started doing things that I really excelled at and that I enjoyed and loved doing, and that gave me more energy, and it monetized easily. So lesson 2 is understanding your digging style and doing the work that aligns with it, okay? So if you're making notes, it's understanding your digging style and doing the work that aligns with it. Okay, cool. So here's what will happen, and maybe you resonate with this, guys. I don't know if this looks familiar, but let me talk you through it. What happens when you're using the wrong digging style is that you adopt a strategy that isn't necessarily right for you, but because someone else who it is right for says it's going to work, you think, I'm going to give it a go. So you work hard, and it feels like really hard work because it isn't right for you. And since it isn't right for you, and you aren't getting results, you feel frustrated, so you do less of it. And then you loop all the way back to the beginning. I can see a few people commenting here. So you loop all the way back to the beginning and you look for a new strategy, hoping that it's going to solve the problem. And the result is that you bounce from one thing to the next, never really getting the results you want, and all your hard work comes to nothing. So who's resonating with this? I've got Will saying it looks similar to a broken contract cycle. Yeah, absolutely. And Catherine saying spot on. Mike saying, oh yeah. And Betsy smiling. Amy saying, this is my life. Cool. Yeah, I thought that you could identify with this because it's painful, and it's not that you're not working hard. And you know, you can get to certain points in this cycle and you go, oh well, you know, if it's not hard work, then I don't deserve the results. Has anyone ever had that thought? If it's not hard work, then I don't deserve the results. And you know, this kind of thinking can keep you working hard forever, even when you don't need to, just because you create, you know, work and projects and stuff that you think that you need to do. So Libby's agreeing with me here. Okay. Now, not only that, but when you don't get the results, your confidence gets eroded. So I'm not going to ask anyone to kind of raise their hand for this one, but just know this, that everyone feels bad when they can't seem to make the money that they think they should be making. Yeah, and that's, you know, even the most confident person outwardly still feels crushed when they're not, you know, crushing it in their business. So, when you start using the right digging style, though, what you can do is bypass this whole kind of stuck loop entirely, and you don't even have to worry about it, yeah, because you're in your natural flow and you break through those income barriers easily. Okay. Is it possible to absolutely need a particular style approach given your product? I'm not sure I understand the question, Libby. Let's see how we go, and if it's still a question at the end, let's say that one again, yeah? Cool. Right, okay, so the other problem with using the wrong digging style is that you never dig deep enough to find the treasure, okay? So maybe make a sketch about this and get that triangle onto your notes, because this is really important. And, you know, if you're already in sales and business, you may have an idea about this, but this is where the real profit is made in business. And the places where businesses fail tends to be because they concentrate all their activity at the top of that triangle, yeah? Because there it's high effort and low income, low profit. Whereas when you get down to deeper down the sales funnel, you get to the point where you can reverse those and you can produce high profit and low effort. Okay. So Libby's asking, oh, okay, I don't naturally like picking up the phone and making appointments, but I don't see the alternative. But there are alternatives, Libby. I don't know enough about your business at the moment to be able to tell you the different alternatives, but there are all kinds of things that we can get into. So let's talk at the end, yeah? So when you have a deep enough funnel, you can get down into those higher profit margin things. So imagine the profit on an ebook in like the internet marketing world is like zero, yeah, if when they're giving them away for free. And then you might sell a product that's like, I don't know, 30 quid or something, and then you get down to the mentoring and the you know, the one-to-one groups and one-to-one stuff in the groups, and all of a sudden all your marketing efforts have been happening up here at the very top of the triangle, and all your profit is down at the bottom, yeah? So you can put in less effort as you get further down this triangle, and you know, it's almost pure profit. Same with offline stuff. So, you know, you may give away free samples and marketing materials and all this kind of stuff, and eventually someone buys a product or a machine or something. You know, imagine like photocopiers, for instance, and then when you have that sale made, you can sell deeper down the funnel and sell a maintenance contract, which is essentially pure profit, yeah? So does this make sense that, you know, when you're building anything, whether it's a business or a career or a relationship or anything, you have to build up enough kind of goodwill, skills and traction in order to harvest the value that you've been creating and then turn it into cash. Yeah, so you have to stick at something long enough and go deep enough down that funnel in order for it to monetize and for it to become, you know, wildly profitable. Yeah, but you can only do this effectively if you're using the right digging style for the tools that you have on the table. Otherwise, you burn out or you lose interest and are on to the next thing before you've been able to make it work. Okay, does this make sense? Are you guys following with the triangles and getting to the depth in order to get the profit? Just type into the chat function and let me know. That's cool. So Betsy's saying, yes, work smarter, not harder. Brilliant. Mike's absolutely. Libby's yes. Kermit's yes. Barry's yes. Brilliant. Thanks, guys. It's helpful. Okay, so I swapped out the trading shovel partly by chance, and that's when it really started to happen for me. I got dragged up on stage in front of 200 coaches as it happened, and I explained the system that I use for helping people to monetize their efforts, and it's actually like a profiling system. And at the end of like I don't know, it was like 30 seconds on stage, I had so many people coming up to me afterwards and saying, you know, can you come and talk to my group? Do you run trainings? Da, 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 da. And so everything just kind of spiraled from there. But it came from knowing what my digging tools were and not reverting back to a shoveling strategy or not trying to be a pickaxe, because those things are not the things that I could, you know, just be able to do very easily, yeah? So today I only work with people that I really like, and I get paid very well, and I get to do what I love day in and day out, and it's almost no effort at all. And that's what we're talking about here, the solid foundations of now how you can build your income so you can create the same for yourself, yeah? And love what you do. It's no good if you're able to create the income and you're burning out and, you know, it's dragging you nuts, yeah? Okay, so here's the third lesson that I learned, and it's cut the losses short. So when things started to work for me and I was given lots of talks and trainings and stuff, I could easily have said, okay, because I've invested several £1,000s in learning stock trading, I need to get a return on that before I move on and invest in something else, yeah? I could have said that about a physics degree, yeah? And if I had, I'd still be working as a research assistant, working really hard, knocking my brains out for below minimum wage, and it would all be a bit pants. So, lesson 3, cut losses quickly, and, you know, this is what we say, let winning trades run. Let a winning trade run. So if something's working, do more of it, yeah? And don't wait to get an investment back before you realign with what really lights you up and your natural talent. Because what you're doing is you're delaying profit. You're putting off time when you could have been making profit. And this ties back to the opportunity cost we were talking about, yeah? So, you know, be brave, really get moving on what's going to work for you, and drop the guilt around having invested in, you know, stuff that's not going to work. And, you know, this is so important because I see people getting stuck and unable to move on because they're emotionally tied up and embroiled in all the stuff that they've been struggling with, and they feel like they have to kind of hang on to it and make it worthwhile. So can anyone else relate to this feeling that, you know, you've invested too much to change directions now? Has anyone ever had that feeling, or is anyone experiencing it now? You know, it might be that you've, you know, had a website put up and invested money in it, and then you want to change your positioning a little bit, and then you go, oh no, but my website, and I've paid so much money. Or maybe you've invested in courses like I had, and you know, you want a return on those. So we've got Barry and Catherine saying, oh yes, definitely. Cool. Okay, thanks guys. So let's look at some, so Will's saying, always remain flexible and be willing to pivot. Yeah, that's right. But with these other caveats that we're talking about, Will. Libby's saying, yes, the inverse, investing too little, so nothing to lose. Investing too little. Yes, yeah, that, oh yes, because of the fear of investing too much, I get that. And Betsy's saying, plants know to grow towards the light. So Betsy's growing towards profit. And Mike is saying, my issue is getting started, not so much investing too much into something. Okay, so we'll talk about getting traction when we talk about the 12-week plan, Mike, because that's an important point. Okay, so let's have a quick look at some individuals who are getting some stunning results and explore their natural digging tools to see how, you know, when you can relate to their digging style and see how they got unstuck. Sorry, Bill's asking about the details about each style. Yes, I've got some slides on that. It's coming, I promise. Hang with me, guys. Okay, so we'll look at these case studies, because then you'll understand a bit better about you know, how they use their style to get unstuck, and so you can mimic their realignment strategy and get everything that you want in your life and business as well. Okay, so both these guys were stuck in some way, but they managed to turn it all around and have everything the way that they wanted it. So, you know, this includes more freedom, increased income, doing what they love, and working to the skills that make the digging for treasure and monetizing their efforts so much easier. The other thing to remember is that these guys actually invested heavily in themselves, which was our lesson 1, yeah? And so having that, they had the foundation in order to make the shifts. Now, the other thing is that this webinar is free, and you know, we've packaged it up in a beautiful little nutshell so that it's really easy to take on board. But treat this material like these guys did, you know, as if you'd invested in the high-end coaching package, yeah? Because the insights that you're getting here are top-level stuff that you really need to grasp in order to not just make little incremental results, but to get the big shifts in, you know, the whole way that you do things. Yeah, can you see how this is higher level than tactics and, you know, how to write my marketing message? Yeah, are you getting that? So Betsy's saying yes. So yeah, if you agree with this, or if you have questions, just type into the chat function and let me know, because it's important that we're on the same page with this. Cool. So Mike and Thomas are saying yes, and brilliant. Thanks, guys. Barry's saying yes, but how? Yes, the how is coming. Bear with me. Okay. Second thing about these guys is that they were both working really hard. Yeah. And it's like this default that people do. And there's this underlying sense woven throughout our culture that you have to work hard in order to deserve success. And, you know, this is the inner game stuff that we've been talking about. But most people that I work with can cut away like half of their activity, you know, half the amount of stuff that they need to do, just by applying these 3 lessons that we were talking about. Okay, so take those seriously, because these guys straight away went from seriously stressed to, you know, downing their activity by 50% and just focusing on the stuff that works. Brilliant. Thanks, Thomas. Thomas is saying, I appreciate your efforts. Okay, cool. So, being stuck begins and ends with a decision. And it's a decision that you're no longer going to keep swallowing those losses, and that you're ready to turn around and head towards profit. And sometimes decisions are simple, you know, it's a decision to stay stuck or to do something that looks like it's going to get you unstuck, like reading a book or not. You know, it's that book that you know is going to make all the difference to everything in your life, and yet it stays on your bedside table, like either untouched or with just like the first few pages read. I don't know if anyone has any books like that on their bedside table, but you can discreetly let me know in the chat function, and I won't tell anyone, I promise. But, you know, this is symbolic of a deeper mindset and a deeper decision to stay stuck. Now, sometimes you have more sophisticated decisions to weigh up, and I'm going to talk about how you weigh opportunities and determine whether something's going to fly or not. But this mindset that we're talking about, making decisions and staying stuck or getting unstuck, is the beginnings of the foundations that you need to make those more sophisticated decisions effectively. Yeah. But for now, recognize that sometimes when you're making a decision not to take action on something that's going to help, you're actually choosing to stay stuck. And to get unstuck, you just have to do something. You know, the fork in the road, take it. So you just have to do something, but with the caveat, like we said before, when you use these 3 lessons that we've been talking about and these concepts that we're refining, you're going to be able to take more effective action. So it's going to get you a better result and more money in your bank account. Okay, Bill's saying do something to shake things up. Yeah, absolutely. There we go. Right, so this is Becky. She was stressed out, overworked, not earning very much money for the effort that she was putting in, and she couldn't find a way out. She thought that she just had to keep doing the job that she was doing. She was a kitchen designer working for a small business, and she actually had no more capacity left, so she didn't have that option to just work harder. Yeah. And her talent was the pickaxe, yeah, that was her natural tool. And she'd be totally confident and comfortable walking into a room full of strangers, and she'd be able to just approach people, and she'd know what to say to strike up a conversation and uncover opportunities and build relationships. And she didn't even realise how much a situation like this would terrify some people, because it was so effortless and natural to her, yeah? Now, often this is just the way, because, you know, our natural digging style is something that we just discount and go, oh yeah, anyone can do that. But you know, you have to take on board where something is easy, pay attention, because that's an indicator as to what your tool is. Yeah. So when she got unstuck and found her flow, she increased her income by 50%. And it really goes to show that getting unstuck comes down to decisions. So how did we do this? Well, she made the decision to do the coaching, obviously, and made the investment. Then she decided to shift her focus so that the time that she was spending doing stuff wasn't just stuff, it was stuff that was aligned with her digging style, i.e. the pickaxe strategy, which is networking, customer-facing stuff. Okay, and don't worry, we've got a slide that's going to summarise this. But the point is that any point along this process, she could have made the decision to stay stuck. But she didn't. She always kept moving forward and saying, okay, it's uncomfortable to have a conversation with the boss of the company and say, can I do some more client-facing stuff? Can I spend less time at the computer? But, you know, she did it, and it all paid off. And it's all these little choices that have the big impact. And these little choices, no worries, Amy, take care. And it's these little choices which are symbolic of a broader mindset as to whether you stay stuck or whether you get unstuck and find your flow and make the money that you really want. And Becky took lots of choices in the direction of what she really wanted, and she stuck to her digging style. So this is the pickaxe. So pickaxe people are excellent with people, yeah? They know and connect with lots of people easily, and it actually gives them energy. So being around people gives them more energy. They tend to be very good managers and team players, and they are good at taking on the management of a project. Okay, so who thinks that they might be a pickaxe? Anyone? Type into the chat function and let me know if you think that you might be a pickaxe. So who's saying? Mike's saying totally me. Gina's saying me. Will's saying possibly me. Barry's saying somewhat. Okay. So it's possible that you're partly, like your secondary might be a pickaxe, but that means you have to work to your primary. So Catherine's also saying, I think I am to a point. Betsy's saying, sometimes if I know I can help. Libby's saying, I'm good one-on-one, but terrible in a room at an event. That's interesting. Cool. Bill says, how do you know you are excellent with people? You kind of know. If you're thinking that maybe you are or maybe you're not, then perhaps your digging style is something else, Bill. Okay, so Kawa, his natural style was dynamite, okay, and he had a bookkeeping business, which is actually, he still has it, and it's Kermit's saying battle axe. um, and his business is actually very successful by most people's standards, but he was working hard and he felt like it was hard work because he was trying to use a shovel strategy and do all the bookkeeping himself when he's actually a dynamite tool. Okay, so he was increasingly frustrated and, you know, bouncing around, trying lots of different things. And when he realised that he could give the other stuff to, you know, give stuff to people in his team and just stick to the stuff that he was good at, you know, the dynamite stuff, then everything became a lot easier. All right. So he gave the pickaxe stuff, that, you know, the social kind of client-facing stuff to one member of his part-time staff, and the bookkeeping stuff to the person who was a shovel, and that freed him up to do all kinds of other things. So he built, you know, software apps. He's just done a replacement page for, you know, for Google IG, where you've got your startup page and all your blogs in one place. So he's created a substitute for that because that's being phased out this month. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, this is all very well if you just kind of, and Bill's actually saying, sounds good to be dynamite, you can just give work to everyone else. If you're sitting there thinking, oh gosh, it's all right when you've got a team and you can just give the stuff to someone else, but what about me and I'm, you know, a solopreneur and I've got to juggle everything myself? The point is that you actually don't, and there are things that you can do to either get people involved or to outsource, and there are specific ways of doing this that allow you to be in your flow and not get caught up in, you know, paying big outsourcing fees and all this kind of stuff. And there's actually a whole nother training on that, which I'll let you know how you can get hold of at the end. So there are things you can do, but this first step is to recognize what your natural talent is and then to work at it, because as soon as you do the stuff that's in your natural digging style, you will start to monetize a lot quicker and to a bigger extent, a larger extent than you already are doing. Okay, so dynamite people are able to pull resources together. They're able to see the big picture. They have lots of ideas. They tend to be quite creative. And in order for them to leverage their style, yeah, they need to get other people involved in order to implement the ideas. They can't do all the implementation themselves. And so when Bill says, you know, oh, it's great for them, it just give the work to everyone else, they need to learn how to do that. And the creators who get stuck are the ones who have to do everything themselves. And so Thomas is saying, would be great to be dynamite. This is me. Brilliant. And Will's also saying, this may be my primary. Awesome. Okay. And then all you need to do is match your project to the tasks that you do and to your natural digging style. So I'm going to show you a little bit about the shovel tool in case anyone has got that as a digging style. So Bill's saying, wouldn't that require people skills too? Yes, but not to the same degree that that a pickaxe would demonstrate and require. Okay. So who thinks that their digging style is the dynamite? I know we've had Thomas and Will. Anyone else? Got any more dynamite on the line? Gina's saying, sadly not. Oh, that's good. And see, what's happening is that we're getting kind of cross-square envy here, where people, cross-profile envy, where people are saying, oh yeah, but I wish I was that style and it's not me, and so on. Whatever you are is brilliant and perfect, and you don't have to be a particular profile in order to, or a particular digging tool in order to make money. Everyone, no matter what your style, has the equal opportunity to make money, and it all comes from knowing what your style is and sticking to it and embracing it, not from trying to be something else. This is the whole point. So Chris is saying me, Catherine's saying no way, Libby's like, well, I might be. Kermit's saying me, but I need to see the shovel. Okay, and Mike is saying probably my secondary, but definitely pickaxe. Cool. Betsy is, I like doing lots of different things, but I do them by myself. Okay, that's interesting. And Mike's saying, well said, Laura. Brilliant. Thanks, Mike. I love it when I get a bit of encouragement. Right, so here's what happens when you can get it right. And this is an example of someone whose style is a shovel. All right, so let me introduce you to Danny Eni. Danny grew Firepole Marketing from 40 subscribers to 37,000 in less than 2 years. Does anyone on the line already know Danny? I know I tend to do these webinars and people are like, oh my god, it's Danny! It's like he's got like this rock star status. Mike's saying, yeah, right, brilliant. Okay, so in his most recent launch of the audience-based masterclass, he generated just under $300,000 in just one campaign, which is pretty amazing. But he didn't start there. Danny, like everyone else who has rocked it in business, he started from the grassroots and has built up that from there, from being a novice. And he invested in mentoring and educating himself and applying what he has learned. So one of the important things that he does actually is optimizing his business. And in fact, this is the piece that's unique to his digging tool, you know, the shovel. And it's this natural ability to tweak and make improvements and to implement again and again and again, yeah? So when I first met Danny, it was actually for a profile piece, and he described his process as optimizing his way forward, which I thought was just so cool. It just ties in with this digging style completely. Now, the media would have you believe that, you know, you can set up a successful business and just take a load of risk, and then you wake up 18 months later with a booming business. And, you know, I think enough of us have been around long enough to know that that's just not the case. And what happens behind the scenes is a lot of optimizing and pivoting to find a way of doing these things that are more productive and being more and that are going to be more profitable and more compelling. And Danny's method is exactly this, and it all rests on the process that he uses. And for those of you who don't already know Danny, he's very analytically minded, and he works on testing and measuring and improving everything. And he systematically improves everything so that it works, or he decides that it doesn't work. And by contrast, yeah, most people are kind of hopping around, trying something here, adopting a new system there, and then dropping it in favor of something else for another 5 minutes. And of course, they never reach that monetization part, because, you know, they don't stick at it long enough or do the right things and manage to get deep enough into that profit to you know, because they're too busy wondering what's going on somewhere else. By contrast, Danny monetizes every single time he picks up a project because he has this process. And, you know, for the guys who want to take this further, we can talk about that at the end as to how you put that process in place. So Danny's process is the shovel. Danny's digging tool is the shovel. So if this is you should be taking loads of notes so that you can identify this later. You might want to copy this down. So optimization is the key word. You tend to be savvy with systems. You easily get into the detail of whatever's going on. You tend to be pretty good at problem solving as well. And in order to monetize and to make you know, to make these shifts that we're talking about, you need to be able to tie your profit into the incremental increases in productivity and the results that you get, yeah? So what does this mean? Basically, if you're working with someone in a company, like either as a director or as a contractor or whatever, you need to tie your results to, you need to tie what you're paid to the results that you increase, yeah? So Betsy's saying me, brilliant, okay. So that you get paid, you get rewarded for the results that you produce. Otherwise, you know, you'll end up only ever being paid, you know, like an analyst fee or, you know, a contractor rate. In your business, you need to make sure that you're optimizing the things that are going to get you profit and not the things that really don't affect the bottom line. And it's important to be able to produce that straight line and know where that straight line is to get straight to the money, so that you can, you know, start to really be paid for the effort that you're putting in. So Gina's saying that she doesn't understand this. Gina, do you want to say a few words that about which piece you don't understand? Because then I need to talk about pulling this into a 12-week plan. So how the profit. Okay, Gina, what is it that you're doing? What kind of work do you do? How the profit ties into incremental increases. Account management. Okay, so if you're doing account, is that like sales or is it like invoicing? Retention. Okay, cool. So you need to be paid based on, and client management, she says, okay, you need to be paid based on the amount of the clients that you retain and the amount of profit that you bring the company. So the more clients you retain and the more profit you're able to squeeze out of them, you know, you're going to sell them add-ons and other stuff that's going to be pure profit. Oh, she said she's got it. Awesome, well done. You're welcome. Cool, makes sense. Brilliant. All right, so let's just have a quick recap on what we've been learning so far, because there's actually quite a big piece. You know, we've got another 20 minutes of content to get into. But we know that by recapping, we retain information a lot better. So we've already talked about the big lessons that we can apply from Apollo 13, why you need to get to the monetization phase, how to get the deep profit, and if you haven't sketched those triangles, sketch those now quickly, and how to use your specific treasure digging tools. Now, we've laid a lot of groundwork here, and it's impossible for me to teach you everything in the time that we've got, but hopefully already you're experiencing a shift in the way you think about doing things and the way that you approach the projects that you're picking up, yeah? Because this is going to make all the difference in the amount of profit that you can get out of the project or the business that you're working in, yeah? Okay, 3 lessons of getting unstuck were invest in yourself, stick to your natural digging style, and then cut losses short and let winning projects run. And a quick recap on the digging tools for those who were taking notes. The pickaxe, people are excellent with people. They know and connect with lots of people easily, and this gives them energy. They make good managers, they're good team players, and they're good at taking on the management of a project. The dynamite people are able to pull resources together. They see the big picture. They have lots of ideas and they need to pull people together in order to implement the ideas. And then the shovel that we've just talked about, their keyword is optimization. They're savvy with systems. They easily get into the detail and they need to tie the profit to the increases in productivity and results. Good. Okay. So here's what we originally set out to do, and bear in mind we're not done yet, we've still got to talk about the 12-week plan, but I'm interested to hear, has this been valuable so far? So just type into the chat function and let me know honestly, you know, has this been useful, and are you experiencing a shift in perception? You know, is this going to be, are you going to do things differently going forward now that you know this? Just type into the chat function and let me know. Because I'm hoping that it's helping you to shift out of what's happening with the stuckness so far. So yeah, we've got Betsy and Barry saying yes, we've got Bill saying somewhat. Chris is saying yes, great talk. Traditionally been in shovel roles but have dynamite tendencies. I'm very analytical but creative as well. Sometimes that can make it hard to focus. Yes, yeah, and so you need to stick to your core ones, Chris, and then lean on whichever one's the secondary. So Catherine's saying, oh, this is a good point. Yes, I feel like you're telling me it's okay not to spend my time on social networking if it's not working. Oh, totally. Yeah, that's like taking the, you know, when the signpost where one was to profit and one was to losses. It's like saying, yeah, it's okay not to keep going after the losses. It's okay to turn around and go for profit. So Libby is saying, yes, I now know I'm dynamite primarily and shovel secondary. Brilliant. Kermit's saying, yes, breaks the paradigm mindset. Brilliant. Thomas is saying, you guys are good, by the way. Thomas is saying, I've known that I have a big picture. I have the big picture, but stuck. Okay, so we need the action plan, which is the 12-week stuff we're going to talk about. Mike is saying, yes, Laura, thank you. Learned some new information and firm things I knew deep inside, but have hesitated to do. Oh, awesome, Mike. Jean is saying, I need to stop staying where I am because it's comfortable and push forward and get uncomfortable. Oh, cool. Catherine's saying, now tell my publisher and every other author I know. Oh, I've had the same conversations with my publisher. Oh dear. Gina's saying, need to figure my secondary, see a bit of myself in both shovel and dynamite, but pickaxe definitely my primary. Brilliant. Well done, Gina. And Bill's saying, we should stick to something for a while before we cut our loss. How long do you think that should be? Oh, well, that kind of depends on what the project is and what your projections are that say how long you're going to monetize, how long it's going to take you to monetize. Because obviously, if it's a quick short-term monetization strategy and you should be monetizing in 6 weeks and you have no sign of it in the 6 weeks or within 7 weeks, then you should definitely cut it off. Yeah. There, you get a sense depending on the project, and actually there are ways of evaluating what the project, specifically. I'll talk about it when I talk about the opportunity matrix, Bill, because that's exactly what you were asking me in your email. So I will talk about that. Cool. All right, so we've laid a lot of groundwork. Well done, guys. And I've shown you so far how to dig. And now you need to know where to dig and what actions to take in what order. So you need a digging plan. Okay. So what you've learnt so far puts you ahead of the curve, and you've already just told me some, fantastic shifts that you've each had. And most people never consider this stuff. They're still in the old mindset that you need to work harder and be better and apply yourself and do more. But now you know this, you can work to your digging style and do the things that work best for you. So if you know that your tool is a shovel, you need to optimize. If your tool is a pickaxe, you need to socialize. And if your tool is dynamite, you need to tap into your creativity and learn to pull resources together, yeah? But then the drama is in the detail. So, I taught people how to trade the stock market, and now I teach people how to make money in their business. And the basic principles of the stock market are buy low and sell high, or vice versa, yeah? And then in business, i.e. sell high, sorry, and then buy back low. So you got this time reversal. Sorry, complicating it already. But the principles of business are to have more money come in than goes out, yeah? But that doesn't begin to address the drama and the nuances that make the difference between success and failure, though I hope I've gone some way to furthering your knowledge in the time that we've had. So now we need to look at where to dig and what actions to take in what order. Because what I've done here is shown you how to dig a hole very effectively. And so if you implement what we've talked about, you're going to be devastatingly effective at digging holes. Yeah, you're going to be able to go and work on a project and then use your natural talents, and you're going to be able to monetize, okay, and get into that deep profit. But what I've noticed is that the problem that people have most often when they set about applying this kind of stuff without a system is that they get overwhelmed with too many options and they don't know which to do for best results. And kind of also like Bill was saying, how do you know which projects are going to monetize? How do you know how long you need to stick at it? There are all these kind of questions about finding the right project and then marrying that up with your digging style. And so what happens normally when most people are left to their own devices is that they don't know what actions to take in what order, and they end up spinning their wheels in total uncertainty. And the result is they don't get deep enough to monetize their efforts, and they end up with what you see on the slide. And that's like lots of little piles of dirt from lots of little holes being dug all over the place, because they dig a little bit here and they go, oh, maybe I should be doing that, or maybe I need to do Facebook as well, or maybe I need to do this. And before you know it, you've got 20 different molehills. And someone the other night said, oh yeah, that looks like my desk, except the molehills are piles of paper. So Mike saying, love it, great visual. Excellent. And you saying it hits home. Oh good, I'm glad it's resonating. So I want to help you to monetize and get into that deep profit. So clearly there's still some more work to do. So we need to create a map of where to dig and figure out which projects are going to fly before you start investing time and money in it, yeah? And this is where this 12-week action program comes in. Why 12 weeks? Well, any less than that and you haven't got time to get to the monetization phase, yeah? More than that, you get put off you'll put off taking the action that you need to take, because sometimes, as I think it was Betsy said, was it Betsy? Someone said, it gets uncomfortable when you have to get up and get out of your comfort zone. It was Gina. Yeah, get uncomfortable. So I'm going to show you how to get some help in putting this 12-week plan together in a moment, but let's have a look at how you can create your own 12-week plan very quickly, and then I need to come back and answer some questions that you've had. Okay, so here is basically how to create your own 12-week plan. So, you know, if you're making some notes, do feel free to scribble like crazy, or even press, you know, screen print or whatever. I just want to highlight a few of these things because these are important. So the resource map is highlighted because there are certain things that you need to include in your resource map. And in the Get Unstuck program that I'm going to talk to you about very briefly, there are exercises to help you find those gold nuggets and the connections that are going to help you to leverage up and make a decent amount of cash from your projects. Yeah. Then the opportunity evaluation is an important stage as well, because you want a project that's going to fly, and this is the thing that Bill keeps asking about, because there are so many variables in weighing up you know, whether a project's going to monetize and how long it's going to take and all that kind of thing. I've actually got worksheets and, you know, spreadsheets to help you do that. And, you know, the kind of things that you need to take into account are, you know, the amount that you stand to gain, what it's going to cost you to get it off the ground, what your natural digging style is, of course, and yeah, whether you've got access to all the components and stuff. And there are a few other variables as well that we need to consider. And you actually need to weigh all the different opportunities and different permutations against each other to be able to come up with the right answer, or the most profitable solution. The next one I want to mention as well is, oh, well, you kind of get already that the you need to pick the one that best suits your digging tool, yeah? So straight away you can probably filter out a bunch of opportunities. And then you need to, number 9, evaluate, have a process by which we evaluate stuff. So do you remember we talked about how Danny is able to always have this process? He has a system of doing stuff that means that he always monetizes, or he fails very cheaply and he says, no, this isn't going to work, like within a very short space of time of him starting the project. So that means that he's not having these long projects that he's investing time and money in to always try and that are never going to give him the result that he needs, yeah? So if you had that kind of clarity and that kind of system, then, you know, you'd be able to monetize straight out of the gate each time, pretty much, yeah? Apart from those ones that you cut very early. And it's about having this confidence to be able to do that effectively. And that's really important. So, you know, if you don't come and do it with us to have the evaluation process, you know, packaged up neatly with a little bow on it so that you can do that for yourself, you need to figure out your own way of doing it, yeah? Because this is what makes the difference between these guys that are able to very quickly and easily, you know, make lots of money, and those who struggle and are always, you know, beating their head against a brick wall and funneling money into stuff that's not going to work, yeah? Okay, so the upshot of this is that that's how you do it. You can go and figure it out on your own, but there are more things that we haven't got time to go into today. I've tried to give you as much as I possibly humanly can. So, you know, it's the difference between months and years, potentially years of struggle, and maybe getting results, or having the absolute clarity and a system to follow so that you can do this for yourself with the confidence and you know, get to that monetization phase quickly, so that you can be rewarded appropriately for the amount of time and effort you put in. Okay, so the goal would be, if you decide to do the course, you know, have these 12 weeks to get moving and reach the monetization phase. So within 3 weeks, you will certainly feel unstuck and be working on a project that's going to put you in your flow, and it's going to be tailored to your digging style, and you're going to be on your way to making more cash. If you keep applying and going back through the videos and worksheets, you will flat out get it done. And the real beauty of this program is that it's self-study but with my support. So you get all the attention that you need that doesn't cost what it costs to get into a coaching support package, which if you were to come and work one-to-one with me as a red carpet client, you'd be paying £6,000 for a 5-month mandate. Okay, so you get access to me, but you're not paying £6,000 for it. And you can email me as much as you want, as long as you're not crazy and not sending me like several long emails each day. I will do everything that I can to help you and to make sure that you fulfill on what you need to do. Okay, so here's a little bit about the action plan. First off, and actually, even if you have no intention of taking this, still take some notes, because this is telling you the process that you need to go for in order to, process you need to go through in order to create this 12-week map for yourself. Okay. So module 1, it should be called the Apollo 13 module, because actually this is where you work out what's on the table. So you're creating your resource map, and I've actually got worksheets to help you find those gold nuggets and connections that I mentioned. And these are the things that are going to make the difference between making decent money or mulling along and never really getting any results for your hard work, and generally feeling miserable is what happens. We'll also be determining your digging tool at this point so that you can filter out the projects that are never going to work for you. Alright. Module 2 is all about matching your digging tools to the projects that have the best chance of monetizing. So as we've talked about, you need a project that is going to fly and a structure to help you evaluate that so you don't waste lots of time, years potentially, and thousands of dollars on a venture that's never going to turn a profit, or that's never going to pay you what you really are worth. And for those of you who are risk averse, you will love this module, because you can start know that you're going to make money before you even put time and effort into a project at all. Okay. Third module is all about taking the baby steps and bringing everything that you've learned in the first couple of modules into a 12-week plan. So this is where you pull together a short-term plan, goal set for your bigger vision. So you're going in the direction of what you really want and what you ultimately want it all to look like, yeah, but you're breaking it down into a small digestible chunk, and that's 12-week, that magic 12-week window that we've been talking about. And the reason that you're going to get so much result and so much traction on this is because you're going to have the certainty that this is the best investment of your time and energy and resources at this point. And you'll also have the certainty that it's the right thing that you should be doing given the digging tools that you have and your personality, because you're going to have built it all up from everything that goes on in getting up to this point in the process, yeah? And you're also going to have a clear goal on that monetization phase, and you'll be heading straight for it, yeah? If you have any questions, just let me know, by the way. Okay, so module 4, we then need to shift gears a little bit. So if you've already gone and researched me a little bit, you'll know that I'm like mega into the inner game. And if you're not dealing with the inner game and all these emotions and thoughts that go on inside your head, you're not going to, all the strategy in the world won't get you the results. You could be a master at like all this, the technical stuff, you could be amazing on the phone, but if you haven't got the stuff sorted between your ears, you're going to self-sabotage and you're going to create blocks and all kinds of barriers on what you're going to allow yourself to achieve and to put into your bank account, because what's going on in the inner game is governing everything, all the results that you allow to happen in the outside world, yeah? So if you're not dealing with the inner game, you're never going to earn any more, and that's why I've put this module in, because it is so important. And I use this with one of my, well, I use it with all my one-on-one clients, but one particular guy, his business was on the brink of bankruptcy, and we managed to turn it around to it being in excess of £2 million turnover. And this was the missing piece of the puzzle, the inner game stuff. He thought that he had to suffer and he had to work hard and all this kind of stuff. Then once we took that out, everything just turned itself around and it became easy. So, once you get this stuff sorted, you can pretty much write your own checks on whatever you want to make. All right. Okay, so how's it delivered? Over videos and audio tracks, worksheets and example sheets. Bill's asking, is this one-to-one course or group? So it's done online, and you work through it. It's self-study, and then you have email access to me. So, if you get stuck or you want me to look over some of your worksheets and give you some advice, I'm here to do that. And that's exactly what the current students do, and they're getting some brilliant results. So it sold out in the pre-sale, and the first class tested it, and they gave me loads of feedback. It was brilliant. And so we added in a couple of explanatory worksheets and also worked out any kinks and really honed it to make it more streamlined and more powerful. You know, we took out all the fluff. So what you're getting is the super duper version. Libby's saying, oh, Libby, I love this question. Libby's saying, can't the inner game programming master true digging style? Yes, it can. And in fact, Kawa, who was on there, when he first started working with me, before we did any inner game stuff, he was coming out as a shovel digging style. But after we did the inner programming stuff and stripped away a lot of the limiting stuff, limiting beliefs and factors, he came out as the dynamite. So yes, very good point, Livy. Very insightful. I like that. Does it help us identify what our digging tool is? Yeah, you do that in module 1, Gina, because everything else is built up on your digging style. Brilliant. You're welcome. Okay, cool. That's all right. Just saying sorry. This is cool. Okay, so the price is only $137, and we have a fast action bonus as well. And you know, this is way too cheap. I mean, I'm going to talk about one of the bonuses, and that alone is worth 10 times that. But the point is that I want to help people to monetize, because making money isn't that hard when you align with what's good for you and what comes naturally to you, and when you stop beating yourself up and giving yourself a hard time. So to that end, if you go for this and you register before midnight on Tuesday, you will get an autographed copy of my book, which goes into the digging styles in way more detail. And it also talks a lot about the inner game, it's about rewiring your brain for wealth and success. And you'll also get a personal laser coaching session with me. You know, I'm seriously invested in making sure that the students who come on to this training course, they don't see it as just a training, it's an action program, and that you actually get results. Okay, but this isn't about, registering for a program. Being stuck ends in your heart and in your mind. And the first step to getting unstuck is taking action. And as you've seen with all our case studies, these guys, they reached a point where they didn't want to be stuck anymore, and they made a decision to do with all of that, yeah? Sorry, I've got another question coming through, not reading the full email that I sent and having to repeat. Okay, Thomas, we'll talk about that. It's a bit off topic. Okay, so if you're in an emotional place where you need to stay stuck a little bit while longer, that's okay, I understand. But what's important for you to consider at this point is your choice between staying stuck or getting unstuck and building the life and the income that you really want. And this is a choice really about how you live your life. So if you're sick of feeling stuck and not knowing what to do, and you genuinely feel like you're ready to get unstuck and start moving forward, then I would be honoured to take you by the hand and to help you with the next steps in getting to where you want to go. And the future really is within your grasp, Kermit. Sorry, Kermit's saying laser hair removal. No one's ever asked me that during a pitch. Oh my god. Brilliant, love it. Okay, let me talk to you about some of the bonuses, to be a little bit serious for a minute. So we've been talking about the opportunity, how to evaluate opportunities, and this is where the fork in the road decision matrix will give you the checklist that you need in order to make these really sensible decisions and evaluate stuff effectively. So, sometimes decisions are like a straightforward choice. It's that inner choice to stay stuck or to move on and have everything that you want. Like reading that book. Do you remember we talked about that? But when it comes to more sophisticated decisions, like when you've got 2 or 3 projects that you would love to do, how do you decide how to proceed? Or when you've got some and you don't know whether they're going to make you money or not, what do you do? How do you go about evaluating that? Well, this fork in the road decision matrix is something that I developed for my red carpet clients to figure the things out when they need to get their strategy set up in the early phases. And it helps you to make decisions about whether a project's going to fly and whether it suits your digging style. So I've actually tweaked it and honed it and made it super effective and easy to use, thanks to the intake of previous students. And now I can safely say that this is several times more valuable than what you will ever pay for the course. Okay. Now, the second bonus, as we talked about earlier, in terms of getting your team involved, or, you know, what do you do if you haven't got a team? You know, what if you're not a Richard Branson or a Danny Eny, and, you know, you just haven't got the funds to go and outright employ people? Well, this training will solve that problem, and it's the second bonus there. Right, okay. So, if you feel like you're ready to get unstuck and you're ready to move forward, so Chris is saying, yes, I've always wondered how that's done. Okay, cool. So if you're ready to get unstuck and to really start earning what you deserve to earn and to blast through those income barriers, then here's the link to get on board. So you go to the getunstuck.biz/60day MBA, and then you scroll down to the bottom of the page and you click the add to cart button. Now, as we've already said, it's not about the small cost of the course. This is a decision about how you deal with being stuck, and, you know, whether you're making ready. It's a decision about having a way of getting unstuck, and whether you take that way of getting unstuck or not. Yeah. So you can carry on doing what you've always been doing and keep making the same kind of money that you've been making, or you can, you know, take bold action and do something that's going to get you unstuck, and thinking differently and doing things in a different way, so that you can blast through those income barriers that we've been talking about. And if you're ready, hey, I can't wait to help you. All right. So I just want to leave you with this final thought, that we put off doing what we know we should do today because we don't think we have what it takes to deal with tomorrow. And this is a very real fear, and it really used to stump me too. I'm coming back to that, Thomas, sure. I used to really worry about this, and this is probably why it resonates so strongly with me, and why I feel like I need to share it, because, you know, we succumb to this thinking at the expense of our dreams. And I know for a lot of people on this call, increasing their income by even 20% or 50% would make a huge difference to their life. It would take away a lot of the stresses and a lot of the pressure, and it would give them peace of mind and security. But it would also help them to feel more confident. Now, I did a survey and we had about 100 and something people do this survey a couple of years ago, and the number one reason that people wanted to make more money, just underneath all the stuff about having to pay bills and provide for their families and stuff, the number one reason they wanted to make more money was so that they could feel more confident about themselves. And it starts here. It starts with taking the baby steps and laying in the habits to make all your hard work and effort mean something. So it's also about making sure that the effort that you put in isn't in vain, and that you're not just, you know, digging the shallow piles of dirt all over the place like that slide that we looked at. It's also about cultivating the habits so that you can always dig for treasure and always find gold. This isn't project dependent. It's not about the thing that you're working on here. It's also about every other thing that you're ever going to work on. So if you don't learn it here, make sure you go and learn it somewhere. You know, here you've got it packaged up and tried and tested in a very affordable system. And, you know, it's easy to take all these skills on board. But, you know, if you need to go and learn it somewhere else, you know, from a book or from mistakes or from battle testing it in the field or from other people's mistakes, then you need to do that, because ultimately these skills that we're talking about are what it's going to take to reach the next level of building your income and ultimately your dream. And you really do deserve to have your dreams materialize. I know how hard you guys work. You know, I get emails from people just like you all the time who are bashing their brains out and trying to figure it all out. And if cash were rewarded for hard work, there would be some really wealthy individuals out there. But, you know, now it's time to make your efforts pay off. And, you know, if you're ready to do it, then I'm here to help. So that's everything. We had a few questions, and I don't know if Ryan's still there, but Thomas was saying, does it make sense to take 60-day MBA and your course at the same time? And I would say, yeah, totally, because it's just one's supercharging the other. So,
just so you know, I am here, Laura, so feel free to run through the questions, but I just want you to know I'm here.
Oh, brilliant. Do you want to answer Thomas's question then?
Sure. I mean, I think Thomas with 60-day MBA. Obviously, we've got the live classes, which are a commitment, but the way that Laura's course works is it's online. You can access it anytime, and it's because it's asynchronous, meaning you can email her whenever. I think it'd be a great fit.
Cool. I'm just seeing notifications of people who've got on board already.
Cool.
So
Awesome.
it's great. My phone's going nuts. It's great. What's happening? So Will's saying, thanks Laura, great session, very inspiring. Oh, bless you. Thanks, Will. Betsy's saying, I've 60-day MBA and I've learnt a lot from this. Oh, brilliant. So Betsy's saying that she's already done 60-day MBA and that this has been cool. Excellent. Chris is saying, thanks Laura, simple yet effective advice. It shows that you are speaking from the heart and from experience. Well done. Thank you. Cool. Did we have any questions? I know there were some questions.
Yeah. Well, there were some questions earlier. Are you okay with me bringing those up now?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.